Hi everyone, welcome to Michelin King. Thanks very much for joining me. Today we're just going to take a look around the factory, to be honest. As you can see, lots of arrivals and whatnot in the background. The shelves, typical Monday from the weekend, the shelves have been absolutely ravaged. So just a case of tomorrow we're coming back in it again. Lots and lots of orders still to go out. As some of you may know, we had a bit of an issue with bottling last week. Just unfortunately, quite a chunk of a delay with our bottles. So if you know a good bottling company, let me know. So basically what we're looking at here, we've got some new waxes. There's some waxes that you may be familiar with. We did do quite a big reblend towards the end of last year, and I know that we put a lot of new waxes out at the one go, and lots of people said to me, how are we supposed to keep up with this? So what I'm going to do just now is we've just recently photographed these so that the right photograph is back on the website. So what I'm going to do is, if we can find a nice place for this box to sit, we're just going to stick them back on the shelves, and as I do so, I'll just tell you a bit about them. So first one is Elixir. So this is probably one of our non-mark waxes that we released towards the end of the year that they haven't had their official photograph on the website yet. So this is Elixir. It's one of our higher-end waxes. It is a limited edition as well, so you get it signed and numbered on the bottom. The biggest, I guess, characteristic of this is the wet look and the gloss, but you've also got, because of the time of year, you've also got the protection in there as well. So that is Elixir. Next up, I've got a lot, but I'll try and go through them as fast as I can. So next up, we've got Scooby. So any of you that are Subaru fans, obviously, I've always never owned one. Had a friend that had a P1 at one point, which was really quite cool. Just leery, absolutely leery, but a cool, very cool car indeed. So next up, we've just got a rebrand for Modena. So this is a car wax that we originally made for the owner of a Ferrari, and it's now used by Ferrari owners all around the world. This is a 200ml version, so both the 50 and the 200ml have had a full reblend, a full change of ingredients. So if you've got version 1 essentially, so the one that doesn't have that label on it, or that doesn't have this label on it, then you've got version 1. And if you've got this label, I know this is getting a bit complicated, but if you have that label from December the 1st onwards, you've got version 2. So we did bring in the new label in between, and then we had the idea of why don't we reblend all of the mark waxes for 2023, simply because so many of them have been with us for quite a long time. And I do like to foot about with the waxes, so let's do a reblend. So this is Cera Lacquer. This is one of the ones that I'm probably talking about there, so it's been with us for quite a long time. So it was definitely due just a reblend and update. Things have changed, waxes are available now that maybe weren't as common back then, or just also my knowledge has got better of blending wax and whatnot. So there are things that I've learned over the years that I now think, well, we could use that in this wax and whatnot. So next up, we've got Americana. This one, I really like this one just because it was a car wax that I made for a customer that has a Ford Mustang, an old school Ford Mustang, which I absolutely love. I really, as many of you know, I absolutely love my muscle cars. Again, never been fortunate enough to own one as yet. Wee bit more difficult to own them in the UK than it is the States or elsewhere, just simply because of the huge engine capacities that they have, and obviously the absolute fuel guzzlers that they are. So hence why we tend to drive more European cars with smaller engines. Although I did have, for about a year, I had a 5 litre V8 and it did 30 miles to the gallon, which is not bad. So, next up, we've got Stuttgart. Stuttgart was our original, and still is, original car wax that we made for the owner of a Porsche. And again, it has become synonymous within the Porsche circles and very, very popular indeed. Grace is an interesting one. So this was actually made for a car dealership first before it was released to a customer, which is quite unusual. Normally it's the other way around. The dealerships will hear that we make this type of stuff and then they'll get in touch. But this was the other way around. They actually we'd made contact with them, before, just looking for the space for Bond. We'd entered into discussions before the wax was officially released, so they actually got their hands on it first. Roadster, quite a fun wee wax. Again, I've never owned an MX-5, but I did have an MGTF, which was equally as fun. So this is the car wax for Mazda paintwork. As many of you know, I absolutely love Mazda paint because I think their colours are quite brave, and they've got a lot of cool. Just if you ever pass a dealership, have a look in at the colours that they offer. They've got quite a lot of nice colours that stand out, just something a bit different, kind of similar to some of the Peugeots that you get, the GTIs and such like, that have got. I don't know the name of it, but there's an orange that they offer, and that was the first car, or panel rather, that I learned to use a rotary on, and I'll never forget the colour. It was absolutely stunning. So, and we do offer a car wax for Peugeot paint as well. Next up, we've got Evolve. Simply just because Range Rover is no longer Range Rover with all the different sizes of vehicles that they offer now, we've called the wax Evolve because they have evolved into a slightly, they've got a much wider net than they used to, and that's quite exciting, you know. It's because they are very good cars, very capable. Probably Range Rovers, probably one of the best off-roaders, along with your Toyota Land Cruisers and such like, and obviously the Defender as well. I presume the new one is as capable as the old one, but I've not watched any YouTube videos or whatever on it yet. Next up, we have R. R is still waiting for a space on the shelf, so it's in our box over here. So R is just simply for Honda paintwork, slightly softer. So we've got a lot of protective properties in it, and it's very, very high gloss, so it's quite an interesting wax. Oxford, so that is for the Mini, for the owner of a Mini. This has underwent a complete transformation in both terms of the labelling and also the blend as well, so big difference with the Oxford here. Easier to apply than it was before, gives you more of a wet look, better on both metallics and solid paint. So we did quite a lot to this, we tweaked this quite significantly. First ever motorcycle for Hog wax, so this is called Chopper, for my love of anything customised basically. So watching Orange County Choppers and such like, and just seeing how they do it and their customisation. So always, you know, like to see somebody else that's in a similar line of customisation and bespoke, just to see how they do things differently to ourselves. Next one, Panther. So Panther's had quite a big update. It's moved on. At one point we were dealing with quite a lot of sort of older Jaguars at the time, and it's totally flipped the other way now. It's mostly modern, so we've changed this blend completely. It's a brand new blend, and as many of you know, I currently have the F-Pace, and prior to that I had the XK as well. So Regal was available, it sold out, and in between all that I got the F-Pace, and I thought I'll re-release it. and a good friend, as a great customer and lucky enough to call him a friend as well. Recently bought an eyepiece, so it all tied in nicely. So that was that's Panther. So Panther, very nice wax indeed. Next up, you have RS. Those of you can get a slight hint. This is the car wax for a Ford. This is just out and out gloss. You know, the RS wax is out and out gloss. Originally, it was made for the first batch of Ford Focus RSs that were coming into the UK, and then we made some for another dealership as well. So the thoughts, or the brief that we were given, we want this wax to be as glossy as possible, so that when the cars are in the showroom, then they look as best. You know, they look their absolute best. Next up, Bentley boys. As many of you know, I have a real passion towards Bentleys. Absolutely love them, especially round about the 90s to the noughties. Really like that kind of era with Bentley, and obviously slight modernisation to the Continental and things like that happened. But and everybody's got their own era that they like from cars, but that's certainly for me. And with Bentley, I just feel that's the epitome of Bentley. Unless you go further back, you know, the whole handmade, handcrafted, it really screams out. Obviously they still are. It's just my preference. That's all. Probably just a bit old-fashioned, bit of an old fart. And this is just the 200ml of the Elixir. So again, a very nice wax. It's not a mark wax, it's part of our, I guess you could call it, upper core wax range. Really nice indeed. This is one of our top 3 sellers. It is Quattro. Originally made for, I think it was an Audi R8. And it's, you know, so many of our customers have now purchased this that own and have owned Audis. Everything from, you know, A1s all the way through, obviously right up to the R8. Lots of really quite fast cars. I didn't really know that much about them, and then one of our neighbours bought I think it was the RS6 or something like this. One of these, you know, absolutely crazy estate cars. And when he started to tell me the figures, I'm thinking, this is not, you know, this is not a family wagon. So very interesting. Next up, we have GTR. So again, a really nice wax. I think actually we just sold a 200ml of that. It's just before I took the pictures, we had a 200ml on the shelf, and now we don't. So that's yeah, it's been quite a popular wax. That's for Toyota paint as well, so slightly thinner there, and a softer wax as well, just to be more gentle on the paint system. Mannheim. Mannheim is one of the first waxes that we ever made in the Mark Wax, and it was for a Mercedes SLR McLaren, if I can remember correctly. One of our good customers purchased the car, approached us, had asked if we made a wax for that type of paint system. I think it was the first ever Mercedes that had ceramic clear on it. It's kind of before all the ceramic stuff hit the market, and yeah, so we came up with Mannheim, and it's been very popular ever since. What else have we got? Oh, last but not least, it's the heavy hitters that we're bringing out now. So this is Noir. Noir is, I think, in the top 5. So it's a dark, because quite often with concourse waxes you never get the option of a light or a dark concourse wax. So Noir, it was originally made for a black and white Bugatti. You might remember when they first came out, and they probably still do it, but the doors, the sides were quite often a different colour to the main car itself, and this one was black and white, nicknamed the Panda, which hence the labelling on this as well, black and white, just to match in. So it's a car wax for as a dark concourse. So essentially what that means is instead of, it suits darker paint better. That's probably it gives this a dark, rich look to it. It's really, really nice. Again, it's very, very popular, and obviously offer it in 250 mils as well. So let's have a look. Is there anything else? Alaska obviously is our winter car wax. We've changed the labelling up quite a lot on some of the new releases, specifically more so on the core wax. We're keeping the luxury waxes as is, so obviously the aluminium labelling there, and it is real aluminium as well. So buy a luxury product and you want a luxury finish, so that's what we do. Another one that's definitely worth mentioning just now is the reblend of Azure. Now, I know that it's cold and I know it's not show car season. However, the shows are starting. So, this is Azure version 2. As you can see, it's no longer the blue colour, just to differentiate, make sure that we don't pick the wrong one from you off the shelves. But as you can see, it's only the new blend that's on the shelves now. Completely sold out of the old one. So if you have the version 1 as it were, you're very, very lucky. We don't have any left, and it won't be remade as well, so it's just Azure version 2 now. Main differences: slightly easier to use. We've taken the colouring out as well, just to give you a more pure finish. Changed the fragrance, changed the oils that we've used, changed the concentration of T1, added in a few more waxes that we didn't have, that we didn't use the last time. So quite a few different changes, and yeah, definitely another one. I would definitely have Azure in the collection, and it's quite affordable. It's around about £50 for a 200ml, and bearing in mind you're getting towards the realms of really, really good wax. And we can offer it at that price because it's not wholly natural just yet. There are some petrochemicals in there, but not to the same extent as maybe something like RPM or Prototype, so you are moving up the range. If you're wanting something that doesn't break the bank but gives you a nearly luxury wax experience, then Lavender is the one I would recommend. So Lavender is our second, I think it's about the second or third bestseller ever on the website through all the years that we've been trading. If you add them all together, Lavender is second or third on the list, so it's very, 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 very high up. And we do 50ml as well, so that's the 50ml that's available. We do, just to add confusion to this, so some customers have asked about the size of the jar. So the 50, this is actually a 100ml jar, but we sell it as a 50ml just simply because I wanted the width, the opening to be big enough to put the pad inside. So just in case, obviously the traditional 50ml is this one here. So if we turn them, you can see the size difference is quite clear. It's just on the luxury waxes, there's a wee bit more manoeuvrability, so we can upgrade the jar. And as you know, it's a special pharmaceutical jar that we use as well. Hello Shax, how you doing? We're just looking through the mark waxes just now. The guys are going to come in first thing tomorrow and start stocking the shelves again in between catching up with the orders. I do apologise because I do know that some of the orders have been delayed quite significantly, but we have made really good progress on the orders today. So as I said, it was just a bottle issue, just a very, very slow delivery, unfortunately, and you do get that from time to time, especially obviously with Royal Mail and whatnot over the last while, but we are back to normal. It's just a case of now, you know, getting our heads down and getting through all the orders that we can. So what we've got here, the last wee thing I want to show you is a special edition that I made, and and if you are watching this video and you've stayed to the end, you'll be happy, I think. So this would normally sell for £200, but we are offering it at £100, just simply because you've stayed and watched the video. So it's one of our crystal editions. It has the car inside as well, and it's just over 200 mils. So usual way, just first come first serve. It's £100, and that includes the shipping as well, so it doesn't matter where you stay. If you're in farthest flung, wherever you are, it doesn't matter, we'll ship to you for that price. It's just a clearance item that we've got from Christmas there, and I thought it would be nice to give the opportunity to some of our existing customers, because I had an experience today where we were upgrading the broadband in the office at the moment. Obviously did a lot of wiring and whatnot, upgrading the fire alarm system here as well. As you can see, stuff hanging from the ceiling. And what I found is, as a new customer, I'm actually getting a better deal than I would be as an existing customer. And that's something that I've always felt quite strongly about. I feel that if you're an existing customer, you should be getting a better deal. So this is what we do here at Michelin King. Our existing customers get the best deals. So those of you that have stayed and watched the video, then you get the offer of that wax. Right, take care. Bye bye.